now rocking with the best. Who's the boxing show that's knocking out the competition? The kick-ass podcast that make you want to listen. The place where boxing fans and fighters rejoice. Thumbs up for Richie, you're listening to the fighter's voice. It's the brightest choice. If you want all the insights on all the big fights right before the big night. Backstage news, exclusive interviews, and predictions on the fights who will win or lose. No other show comes close, and you know it's true. Every fighter got a voice, and so do you. Now you're tuned into TFV. It's the fighter's voice with Richard ORTIZ. Let's go.
There's a lot of changes, Doc.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here on the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast. I want to welcome everyone who's been submitting questions and comments for our guest tonight, who is actually on the go right now. He's setting up as we speak, and that's the WBC, the WBO Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Jose Ramirez. He's going to be joining us shortly, and we're going to talk about his upcoming fight, May 22nd, his unification bout, actually, with Josh Taylor. And we're going to get in depth with Jose, talk about his training, where he's at so far, and preparation for that big event. But until then, you know, there's a few things that I want to talk about. I mean, one is Iron Mike Tyson is going to compete again. And as you know, it's possibly going to be for Triller, and that's what I'm hearing. But I'm hearing this time all the hype and hoopla was about Evander Holyfield. Now I'm hearing it's with Lennox Lewis, who is a mammoth of a man. And it should be fun. It should be entertaining. And you know, I just want to know what everybody's view is of going into this event. I mean, because it's more than just Mike Tyson. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez actually started, say, the exhibition matches and continue to go forth. And then all of a sudden, everybody wants a piece of it. And now it's becoming famous like mom's apple pie. You know, everybody wants a piece of the pie. There's enough to go around. Looks like our guest is joining us. Jose Ramirez. Jose, how we doing, man?
Doing fine. How's it going, Richard?
It's going good, man. Your audio's great, by the way.
Good.
Hey, not to get personal or anything, but just off the text that you sent me, were you able to find what you needed?
Yeah. We you know, summer's coming. It's getting hot in the valley, so we gotta make sure we get some shorts, t-shirts for the boys, you know, for the kids.
Hey, you got to look fresh, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. That's always stuck in my mind because I told you the story a while back about the water that was running. Remember, I told you that, and a particular someone said, "Hey, if you keep leaving that water running, I'm gonna let Jose know." And this was in the middle of the whole fight for water, and your reply was, "Well, Richard, you got to be fresh." So that always stuck with me. So I always say that a lot, whether I'm at work or I'm talking to a friend. I said, "Hey, man, you got to be fresh. You got to make sure, man."
Well, you know, we work for our kids, man. You know, we work for the family, so that's why I do what I do. You know, so we gotta make sure they have everything they need.
Exactly. You know, Jose, first of all, I appreciate you coming on so close to your big event, May 22nd. And, you know, there's been questions and comments coming in. So I'm going to jump right into it and ask you, where are we at so far on where we need to be once that bell rings May 22nd, where we are as far as weight, conditioning, our timing, just the whole game plan that's been laid out, of course, by, I mean, let's call him the professor, Robert Garcia at Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy.
Yeah, let me tell you, Richard, we're ahead of schedule, man. This has been a great training camp. I started early. You know, I'm very inspired, very motivated. You know, it's a big fight, man. It's a big fight. I think this is the fight that's gonna, you know, make me show the world who Jose Ramirez is, you know, and I think I have all the qualities I need to come up on top, you know, and become the first Mexican American undisputed world champion, you know, with Mexican descent, 100% Mexican blood. So I know this fight is gonna bring a lot of glory to both my, you know, Latinos, Hispanos here, all the immigrants here in America, and also all my Mexicans out there in Mexico. So it's a big fight, man. I'm very inspired, very motivated. As far as my weight is where I need to be. You know, we're doing that percent of weight, the 30-day weigh-in for the WBC, and we're doing the 14-day weigh-in. So I'm meeting all those expectations. So I'm having a good time, man. It's a great training camp. The whole team is inspired. As far as sparring, conditioning, my timing, I feel sharp. I feel sharp and strong.
You know, I had the privilege and honor of making a visit, your preparation for this big fight. And actually, we just released that video today, the interview that we had. And, make sure you take a look at that, man. I mean, it's always fun interviewing you, Jose, but going in there, as I can see now, I mean, you look trimmer as far as your face and your jaw structure. Everything looks like it is in place, and I can see a different look in your eyes. I know. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I know you didn't like when they kept walking by your car, because I go look at Jose, man. I mean, come on. I mean, they're getting pretty close to your car, and there's a lot when you were inside. They were getting real close to your car, and I was going, man, good thing Jose didn't see this.
Yeah, I've been a very blessed man, and the sport, my hard work has given me a lot. So. You got guys like myself and Mike Garcia, who sometimes we show up with those, with those rewards that we get out boxing, those nice cars.
Very well deserved rewards too.
So of course the prospects and the future world champions and even the amateur kids, they want to come and take a look at the cars, and get close. But man, I'm not the type of guy that gets mad or like gets, nervous when people get close to my car, man. I used to be one of those kids, trying to get too close to the nice car.
Well, let me rephrase that, Jose. I'm sorry. I apologize. I wasn't talking about the fighters getting close. It wasn't the fighters getting close. It was a few other people that were there. No, the fighters. They respect that 100%, and that's a great motivation for them. But no, it was some other people that were getting pretty close.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, no, it was we had when you came to the gym, it was a busy week. We had a ESPN, we had the camera crews with big cameras, walking past us, in and out of the gym. So yeah, of course I told them, just to be careful, but as far as the kids, I let the kids get close. I let the kids go in, because like I said, I used to be one of those kids, I used to, man, I'm living my dream, Richard. What could I say, man? I'm living my dream. Participating in the biggest fights in boxing, the highest level possible in boxing. So I feel like a true champion, and I have a beautiful family. I have my newborn daughter who was born to me last month on the 18th. She's 6 weeks today. She was born on a Thursday, so she's 6 weeks today. So she's healthy. She's beautiful. I got my son Mateo getting bigger, handsome young man, and just a beautiful family. I just have a beautiful family. So I been a very blessed young man. I can tell you that.
No, you are, and you're also our dream too, Jose. Like I told you a while back, you're our voice piece. I mean, you're our hope. We haven't had anything around here in a long time. So what you represent and what you do it's not just yours, my man. It's ours too, because we adopted it and we embrace it and we continue to love it and honor it.
No, and it's quite an honor, and I'm, Richard, you've been supporting my career, supporting my causes, the positive issues that we all fight together in the Central Valley. So, I appreciate you, the Fighter's Voice, your whole staff, for, always helping us deliver those messages, those important messages, fighting for those important causes, So it's quite an honor for me to be able to, share my platform with you guys and kind of work together and give the Central Valley, a name of itself for having great fighters. Now we have young prospects too, like Marky Castro coming out of Fresno. We have, Kilo Madera, who's still, he had a tough fight, but a good fight last
Great
week.
Great outing,
Yeah.
Jose.
So he finished really strong. So props to Kilo, man, for continue fighting hard, and there's other great fighters in the Central Valley, future Olympians too. I seen Frank Aleman has good amateur, that's a good amateur program. You have Larry Richard, little Richard ORTIZ. I think
no, that's me, my man. Richard Torres Jr.
Richard Torres, there you go. Richard Torres.
Yes.
See,
but I'm glad the name Richard ORTIZ is growing on you, man.
Yeah. you know, it just I knew it was Richard. I couldn't remember the last name, but you know, I know he's doing pretty good in the amateurs. So it's just the whole, you know, the whole prospects, you know, in the central part of California. It's good to see that they're doing well, and it's, you know, and hopefully they see what I'm, you know, what I'm getting, and they see you know, the type of competition where I'm at, in my, you know, my level of competition. And hopefully they get motivated.
Absolutely. I mean, they can't help but be motivated. And we were talking about how Fresno boxing in the opportunity, because you were in a position, Jose, where you could have had anybody on the undercard. And yet you gave opportunity to Fresno zone, to Larry zone, the Valley zone, et cetera. I mean, and just so you know, it doesn't get unrecognized. I see it as media. I see it. And the opportunity you've given me to follow and grow with Team Ramirez. We've had a conversation a long time ago, and you said, Richard, we're going to continue to grow together. You go, as long as you know, right. you're part of Team Ramirez. He said, we're going to continue to grow together. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And more than anything, you've honored it. I mean, from different gyms, wherever camps you've been, you know, you've always made sure that those doors were open whenever I came through.
Yeah, you know, I think it was important for all of us to bring some of that boxing entertainment to the Valley. So I'm happy that we're all being a part of it. Like you said, thanks to my promotional deals with Top Rank early on, I was able to bring a lot of the talent to be on the undercards. You know, me being the promoter and the fighter and some of these fights, and you know, in the central part of California, we're having my manager break doing all the back, you know, the back behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, it was a, you know, hopefully we get to bring more boxing into, you know, into Fresno. Hopefully one day even fight at the Bulldog Stadium at Fresno State, you know, do a massive event. So I think there's, you know, there's still so much opportunities and so much relationships that we have all, you know, got together. So
well, no, Jose, you're doing a lot, and you know, and there's only one piece of you. I mean, people need to realize, hey, I mean, you also got a personal side to you. There's also other goals that you want to achieve other than inside of the ring, as far as, you know, balancing everything out. And everybody wants a piece of you, Jose. I mean, it's not a piece of what you have. It's just a piece of, hey, he's our champion outside of the ring. I mean, you mean more to people outside of the ring than you do inside of the ring. When you hear that comment, how does that make you feel as a human being, as a man?
You know, first and foremost, I'm very humble by it, but it's a grateful feeling, you know. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I'm you know, that I'm able to see the loyalty of the people here in the Central Valley, the hardworking people that, you know, that could look at me and see themselves through me, you know, and you know, the people that grew up with me, you know, I'm a reflection of them, you know. So we come from a very similar background. So you understand the people in the central part of California, but very prideful. We're hardworking people, you know. Yes. We don't complain. We just continue moving forward, you know, and I'm grateful, and it's a beautiful feeling knowing that you have loyal people supporting you.
Exactly. You know, I'll just share a quick story with you. Just this morning, when I was going to work, and I was in a good mood, Jose. And as I left the house and I closed the door, I said something. I said, I got the best job in the world. I mean, I get paid to work with kids, and I love it. And when I was leaving, you know, a lot of times I get caught up like, man, I can't wait to retire. I want to go pursue this podcast full time. And I really wanted to. I was very close to doing it. According to the district, they said I was too young. I had to put in some more time. So I didn't want to force it. You know, I'll go in God's timing. So when I was driving to work today, I was just thinking to myself, man, I appreciate the job that I have, because I'm passing by and I see guys that want the job or don't have jobs, or, you know, COVID hit them one way or another. And it's just, I felt so blessed. And hearing you, we can both concur with, it just feels good to be blessed around the blessings that are around us. I mean, there's so much more we'd like to have, but there's also so much more we can also give.
Well, you know what, Richard, I think it's important for us to sometimes open our eyes a little bit more, and really realize what we have, you know?
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone, you know, and by then it becomes too late. So, we just gotta be grateful, you know. We gotta move forward and be grateful and smile, you know, and smile, because every day that you know, that God gives us is, you know, it's another blessing, you know, and And like you said, there's so many people that are going through a tough time, through this pandemic and other reasons, that they might face adversity and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we have so much, we have so much, and we just by knowing that should kind of motivates us to go after more, and be happy and do what we do happy with a smile.
Exactly. Jose, I'm going to get to a couple of these questions, and then I want to close the show by asking you some questions come May 22nd, and also touch up on this weekend's event as well. So I'm going to jump into some of these questions, and I'm probably going to have to cut some of them in half. Okay, this is coming from Manny Pacquiao's, I don't even know what to call him, his advisor, his manager, the Viva man himself, man. I mean, a class act in Sean Gibbons. He said, just again, I'm a big fan of Jose and everything that he does here in the Central Valley, champion inside and outside of the ring. And that's what he thinks of Jose Ramirez. When you hear that, how does that make you feel? Once again, to know that you're appreciated, not just from people here in the Central Valley, but people worldwide. You're touching everybody worldwide.
Well, for most listeners that might not know Sean Gibbons, he's been in the game for a long, long time.
Yes,
He's not Pacquiao's main advisor. He's Pacquiao's main manager. So Sean is the man right now when it comes to Manny Pacquiao's team. So any fight that Pacquiao is going through, if anybody knows when Pacquiao's next fight, is that man right there, Sean Gibbons. But I do appreciate his support, man. He's been a tremendous man, and he's a good guy in the sport of boxing. You don't find those type of managers easily in the sport of boxing, and I'm happy Manny Pacquiao found himself and gave Sean Gibbons the opportunity to take upon that important job to advise him and look after Manny Pacquiao, because I feel like Sean Gibbons really does care about Manny Pacquiao. So
yes,
I'm happy he's where he's at now. So thank you for the compliment and for the comments.
And I will add, he's a very kind-hearted man and down to earth as well. Now, this one's coming from the WBO junior lightweight champion of the world, who just came off a career of victory, a career enhancing victory. And that's Jamal Herring. He said, it's just plain and simple. Ask Jose who his favorite teammate was for 2012 Olympic team. And also, what motivates him to continue going strong?
Jamal, me and Jamal used to roommate together ever since even the nationals. When we used to qualify to the nationals, they put you in a roommate with someone. And because it's funny that he was a junior welterweight in the amateurs, and I was a lightweight, and we kind of
bigger than you. Yeah, he was bigger than you.
Yeah, he was a 141 pounder. I was a 132 pounder. Now he's at 130. I'm at 140. But he was the captain of the USA Olympic team. He was a very nice guy, hardworking person, very determined father. Man, he's a soldier. He's a Marine, and he has a tremendous heart, man. He's funny. He's funny. He knows how to brighten up your day when you're having a tough day. He's amazing. He was an amazing teammate. So shout out to Jamal and congratulations on that big win. We all saw it, man. It was a beautiful performance. He finished strong, and he proved he's one of the best 130 pounders in the world. Yeah. So congratulations to Jamal. And what keeps me going is family, man. Family. My family and my people. I feel like those that really don't understand the way the central part of California works, it seems like they have more hope when they have an undefeated world champion. And for that reason, I will try my best to stay undefeated.
Well, you're doing a good job of it so far. This next one is coming from a broadcaster from Ring City, USA, Curran Bhatia. He said, what would it mean to Jose Ramirez to become undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world?
It'd be the most beautiful feeling, I could think of, as far as, as a professional athlete. I think it'll be a dream come true, an accomplishment on top of another accomplishment. It'll be, I try to, stay focused day by day, and maintain myself focused and hungry day by day. So I really don't know the feeling I'm gonna feel, but I can almost taste it. And for a quick second that I put myself in that situation, I feel like, I'm gonna go to the next level and become a superstar. Become a superstar. Not just a great champion, but become a superstar. So worldwide will definitely understand who Jose Ramirez is.
Exactly. And I'm right there with you, champ. A household name.
Definitely.
Now, this is coming from former two-time junior middleweight champion of the world, Fernando Vargas. First of all, just congratulate him and tell him that I said he's with the best trainer in boxing. And these are his words, my compa Robert Garcia.
And, shout out to Fernando. A long time ago, right before I went professional, Fernando Vargas came down to Fresno and saw me train. He was interested in starting a promotional company back in 2012, during that time, 2011. So, I was a big fan of Fernando, man. He had those cojones. You know what I mean?
Yes, he did.
Hey,
we're on the Kick-Ass podcast. You can say it exactly the way it is.
Era cabrón, pues, era bueno.
Yeah.
Cabrón. He became champion so young and fought the best at a young age, man, fearless, un gran guerrero, Fernando Vargas. I'm happy that his kids are fighting, they're looking very sharp. I follow
Yes.
one of the kids and on Instagram, and they all look very sharp, man. They all look like they have a bright future. So congratulations to all the familia out there.
They have that good pedigree in them, and that DNA is right locked in them. I agree with you, Jose.
Yeah.
Now, this one was, okay, this one came and gone. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and read this one right here. Okay. Now, picture this, Jose. Everybody's doing exhibition matches. Can you imagine the value of tickets that would be sold in Fresno, California? If your manager, Rick Merigian, got in a charity match with somebody from Fresno, California, do you think, because you know your manager better than anybody, do you think, one, that he's willing to do so, and two, does he have the hands to back up what he's been posting lately, and is he just more of a businessman?
He's more of a businessman, Rick is a lover. He ain't a fighter, bro. Rick, yeah, he don't fight, man. I don't think he fights. He play basketball.
Yeah, he can play basketball. I've been hearing he has some game.
He has some. I don't know about now, but back in the day, he played pretty good. But I don't know about boxing, man. I think he was I think he's more of a lover, behind the scenes. I think he's a businessman, man. He he's pretty good at what he does on Instagram.
He is. He got some funny ones there.
So I don't know. I don't think he'll do it. To answer your question, I don't think he'll. He knows better. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows not to put some gloves on. And the second part of the question was, I don't know who in Fresno would like to fight Rick. There's probably a list of people, but I don't know who. I don't know who's a good. Maybe to rephrase the answer, I don't know who's a good
matchup
opponent. Who's a good opponent for Rick. I don't know.
Well, it'd be difficult to even try to find someone in his weight class, but that was a question, and I said, hey, I'll do my best to get to it without I had to kind of edit a few things.
He won't do it. He won't do it.
Well, speaking of someone who's been doing it and doing it the best, and this question is coming in more of a comment and more of a praise coming in from Hall of Famer from Top Rank Boxing, Mr. Lee Samuel. He said, Jose grew up in a farm, picked crops, trained as an amateur in your barn, hoping to be champion someday. When you look back, Jose, and reflect on all the things that you've done in your life, what's been the driving force that helped the most in becoming a tremendous champion and a worldwide star in the sport of boxing?
I simply wanted to to give my family a better life, give my father a better life, give my mother at the time, right? You're just a kid, and you see how much that your father's working, you see how much your mom is doing, and you see some of the difficulties, that we go through, and it relates to the financial, the subject of financial, of money, and I wanted to help provide. I felt like, I wanted to be that I wanted to make them proud, and and carry my last name with a lot of pride, and give my dad a lot of that glory, to be proud that he has a son like myself, and that's why I did it, man. That's why I wanted. That's why I will be the first one to get to that gym in Avenon, and I'll be the last one to leave. That's why I will wake up at 6, 7 in the morning before school, and go for a run. Come back, go to school, come back from school, go to boxing gym. After boxing gym, go to soccer practice, and then get home around 9 from soccer practice and have dinner, have a quick dinner, do my homework. Because most people don't know, but I was very, very smart in school. I was a very intelligent young man and had always good grades. I believe my average in high school was a 3.8, 3.9. Um, I was very good at math and physics, chemistry, geometry, anything with angles, uh, anything with numbers, uh, economics, American government. I understand,
Yes.
how to take exams and make testing a lot easier for me to take and pass. Especially when when the answers were when they'll give you those multiple choices, A through D. It was easy for me to take those exams, and I found that I was very smart. And I went to Fresno State as soon as I graduated from Avenel High. I went to Fresno State, and I went as an engineer. So when you go as an engineer, Richard, you go straight to your major courses. So I went straight to calculus and computer science because I went in there as a computer engineer. What happened was that I started traveling with the USA team during the same time, getting ready for the Olympics, trying to qualify to the Olympics. That I was started missing school by like not a week or 2 weeks, but like a month at a time, because I would go to Colorado Springs
Right.
and then go to Italy or go to England or go to Brazil to try to qualify. And it became very, very tough, and that's why I stopped my education and kind of proceed my dreams as a fighter. But I do have a scholarship foundation that I got started through Fresno State, and I give scholarships to Avenue kids uh, who were migrant farm workers who come from the migrant program. And but yeah, man, it was my family always motivated me to overcome and to be better. Not just to show up, not just to do my homework, not just to pass my class, but to get an A, but to pass the exam with an A plus. Show up and be determined. Again, I did it just to make my dad proud. I did it to give my family a better life. And now that I have my own, I'm happy that all that work that I've done is paying off, because now I got my son at on a private school. He has some privileges that I never have. I'm able to give Maris, my fiance, the opportunity to be a full-time mother where she doesn't need to work. So I'm able to do those important things for the family.
No, and that's definitely something to be proud of. Jose, I know how smart you are because we did an interview in Fresno, California, and it became deep. I mean, it was like two guys talking in the garage afterwards. That's how people would describe it. And I was mainly impressed with your political background in what you knew in the numbers, and just I said to myself, this guy has a career after boxing. I already know, because he knows too much to ignore the calling that he has later on in life. Because I mean, yes, you definitely don't have to explain that to me. I was very impressed with the way you handled yourself. That was a different side of you.
Yeah, when it comes to politics and policies, it's a whole different world, and I think it's important for people to educate themselves about the policies, the full concept, and what the meaning of the bill is, a basic
Yeah.
bill, from even if it's local government, state government, or federal government, to really fully understand what the bill represents, or what the law that's being passed through Congress represents. Sometimes things they're only said to what's convenient for the politician, right?
Right.
Or for what's convenient to the political party, if it's Democratic or Republican. Um, I think it's important for people to really understand the concept of what the bill really represents, and then that way they can have a better understanding and vote for the right things. Uh, but when it comes to the politics in water, the politics of certain issues, in the valley. It's a whole, it's a conversation for another day. Something that we could talk for, and it's gonna last because we could go into so much details, and it's crazy. It's not what people think.
Exactly.
It's a whole different world.
And I know, and I'll say one thing and then I'll move away from it. A lot of people can talk about the outside of the frosting of the cake, but you talk about the eggs, you talk about the batter, the inside, and why we got to the frosting. So I'll leave them with that thought. You know exactly what you're talking about. You're not just talking nonsense. Now, this is an add-on, a continuation from Lee's question. He said, what was the turning point and what is it beating a certain contender on the way up where you knew you were one of the great ones in the sport of boxing, and you did all this in a great professional way? And it says, last thing, Jose, what was the single most thing that a trainer taught you that picked up your career, that just elevated you to that next level?
I think, an important fight for me that I hardly speak about was when I became a world champion. When I fought Amir Iman, most people at the time saw Amir Iman as one of the hardest punchers at 140. Yep. He beat Ugas, who's the 147 world champion now, and he was knocking everybody out.
That right hand.
He had a strong right hand. People, the fighters like Paulie Malignaggi, who used to spar him, said he was the hardest puncher they ever faced, in the sparring station. A lot of people were comparing him to a guy, similar style to like Tommy Hearns, with that rocket right hand. And he was sharp too. He was very sharp. He fought behind the jab very good because he was tall. And unfortunately, a fight with the Granadas came, and according to his team and himself, he was very, very sick for that fight. But he still fought. He didn't want to cancel the fight last minute. He still fought, but his legs were not there throughout the whole fight. He did drop, Adrian Granados in the first round, but ended up losing to him in the fourth or fifth round after his body couldn't go. But when I faced him, his coaches told me after the fight, said, you know what, you beat the best Amir Iman. You beat the best. I never seen Amir Iman so sharp in training camp, and you beat him, and the way you beat him, and they were very impressed. They didn't know I was that good, and for me, it meant a lot. It meant a lot to be a guy like Amir Iman, because he was fast, he was sharp, and I found a way to beat him to the punch. I found a way to break him down, and I was able to go my first 12 rounds. My first 12 round fight, I went all 12 rounds, and the way I finished strong. So that after that, just my confidence just grew. My confidence as a world champion just grew. Now not only did I feel like a world champion, but I really felt like the best in my division. And it's funny because it was into that point where I started realize that there was, this Josh Taylor, this Regis for Grace. I didn't know nothing about them before that fight. Before that year. I had no idea who they were. I thought I was going to impress a lot of people. And which I did. And then you see Regis for Grace promote himself very, very, very well, which he should. Everybody should. And then this tournament broke out, and people said, "Oh, Jose didn't want to join that tournament," but it was the offer was never presented to me. The offer was never presented to me. I had no idea about no tournament. I just knew I was a world champion, and I was happy. But then that sour taste started coming in, because I feel like, man, people really think that I'm not the best at 140, and after becoming a world champion, and that's what's difficult about boxing. It's like, just because you're a world champion, you don't think people are going to treat you good, man. People are going to treat you like if you're nothing still, and only in boxing, and it happens only in boxing. Any other sport, you become a champion, and you can lose the next 20 games, and people will still support you. Basketball, you will support your team no matter what, win or lose. I support the Dallas Cowboys, and we haven't had a great team in a long time. You support them.
Same here.
The Lakers. I supported the Lakers. They finally won the championship last year. But you support our teams, right?
Yes.
You become a world champion. And it's not that easy, man. People will still doubt you. People will still, and not just doubt you. They'll call you. They'll have the nerve to even call you that, that you're, that you're not as good, or even as, they use words like, like a bum sometimes, and it's crazy to me. I mean, and I'm not saying this because people were calling me those names, but it's more that I started seeing what other world champions like,
Yeah.
Canelo, uh, other world champions, that were becoming world champions, and people were criticizing them using those type of terms, man. And that's not cool. But long story short, my goal was to become the best at 140, and the only way I could do that is by collecting all the belts, which I started.
Right.
Just because I did not join that tournament because it wasn't presented to me doesn't mean my ultimate goal to collect the belts was not going to be over. I was just getting started, and my job was to collect the belts. I went to the backyard of Maurice Hooker, fought on his network, fought underneath his promotional company
Yep.
with Ed Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. I, you know, I got offered over $4.2 million for that fight, and I had to give Top Rank a percentage of that money, so they could feel comfortable and allow me to go. I did everything I can as a fighter to
Yeah.
make that fight happen with Hooker, right? And he already had the date set, so I only had 8 weeks to get ready. Um, I came back. I had my mandatory challenger, Victor Postol, and now it's time to, uh, unify all the belts with Taylor. That was never ducking no one.
Oh, no one could ever say that you're ducking somebody, but it's ironic the way you mentioned Regis Prograis. Okay, I have a question for you, and it's coming from Regis. You want to go ahead and put that monitor right here. So I'm gonna let you hear the audio. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up right now, and here we go.
Hey, what's up, bro? I mean, first off, I just tell Jose, like good luck with everything. I hope he can do his thing with the fight. But I'll ask him, how is his mental preparation? Is he ready? This is a lot of pressure, like for him, he'll be the first Mexican to ever have 4 belts, and but for Josh Taylor, he'll be the first person from Scotland to have 4 belts. So it's a lot of pressure on both of them. But and just ask him, how does he think is he really, really confident that he can beat him? I personally, I think that I have Josh. I favor Josh Taylor in the fight, but he's still alive. He's definitely still a live dog in the fight. But yeah, bro. First, like.
Oh, I'm sorry. We cut that right there. It was getting juicy, man. Let me put this. Okay, we'll put it right here. Sorry about that.
The first Mexican.
I'll bring it back just right
here. This is a
here.
lot of pressure, like for him, he'll be the first Mexican to ever have 4 belts, and but for Josh Taylor, he'll be the first person from Scotland to have 4 belts. So it's a lot of pressure on both of them. But and just ask him, how does he think is he really, really confident that he can beat him? I personally, I think that I have Josh. I favor Josh Taylor in the fight, but he's still alive. He's definitely still a live dog in the fight.
Yeah. So that's basically what he has for you. He seems to want to pull for you, man. And he did tell me to tell you that if you do win, he's next.
Regis. Well, my personal opinion, and to answer his question real quick, is of course I feel confident. I think a lot of people misunderestimate me, bro. Like, my abilities. It's not until you spar me you get to realize the type of animal I am. In the ring.
Yep.
And the hunger I show. And I'm the type of guy who, in every training session, I always want to give it my best. This morning I was up at 6 a.m. doing hills. I killed those hills, and I wanted to do more because I started to enjoy the grind. My legs feeling heavy and fatigued. And I wanted to do more, right? And Charles goes, slow down because you got training later on. I went to my training session. I did 12 rounds of conditioning in the heavy back, and with bigger gloves, and I could have worn my 14-ounce gloves that were already broken in, but I wanted to wear 18-ounce gloves that were brand new because I wanted to make myself sacrifice more, and it's because I love that grind, and I and see, I'll be ready. You know, no doubt I'll be ready. Now, to add on top of what it seems to me, what it's saying is that you know first and foremost, Regis Prograis is a good fighter. He's a good person too. I seen him a couple times. He's a very nice guy, and and he seems to respect me too. Which is only as we should all respect each other, right? In
Yes.
sport. Well, it seems to me that he came up a little short on his fight with Josh Taylor, and it wasn't because it wasn't good enough to beat Josh Taylor. It was just my personal opinion. If he would have came in better shape, he would have won that fight. I think he took too many rounds off and came off towards the end and finished strong. But I think it was in the middle fight that he wasn't as active. But that happens to all of us. I wasn't as active as I could have with Postol. It was a very underwhelming fight against Postol, and I just felt like I did enough to win. But a better me, any other Saturday, I think I would have stopped Victor Postol. But that really doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is that I think Regis wants to prove that he's still the top 140 pounder, right? Even
Right.
after that loss against Josh Taylor, as he should. He's a tremendous fighter. I think I will too. I think one fight does not define who I am, and I think that's and I think he doesn't know how to. He wants to really support me because say, but I think because he doesn't want he it might be different if people see that I beat Taylor and he came up a little short. You know what I mean? But styles make fights. Back in the days, a fighter used to be another fighter. That fighter will beat the other fighter that will
Yes.
lose to that fighter. So it was like a triangle. They will all beat each
Absolutely.
other and lose to each other. So I have nothing but respect for Regis. And it seems to me that what he was trying to say is that he he wants to know how I'm feeling, mentally, and I think he knows that I think Taylor doesn't know what's coming. I think Taylor, he's gonna be in there for a surprise because I think he's seems to me he's too comfortable. He's too comfortable, and I'm out here working hard.
Very well said. And, we had Regis on the show last Wednesday, and he had nothing but good things to say about you. And he actually, he did his best impersonation of Jose Ramirez. I mean, he talked about the conversation he had, and then he went on to do his impersonation of you. And I, I didn't egg it on, but I just said, how do you say it? Because he sounded like you. Your brother sounds like you. Luis sounds just like you. I talked to Luis on the
Yeah.
phone, and I'm going, man, this sounds like Jose. I'm sure you've heard that before because yeah, you and Luis have the same voice. But and what he did say was he's just too nice of a guy, man. He goes, I wish he was out there talking smack to fire me up, but he's just a respectful guy. It's hard to be sore at somebody that's just, and you talked about it, another true professional respecting another professional. And that's what you guys are.
Of course, Richard, I think in this sport we already get too much hate, bro. We already get too much hate, and there's always going to be. It's never going to end. There's always going to be people that will have something negative to say about anybody who's doing well. Anybody's who's succeeding. So at this level of competition, when you talk about guys like Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, and other top guys in my weight class, of course I'm gonna respect them, man. Like, well, they got their own families. It's
Absolutely.
not an easy sport, brother. You might see YouTubers coming in fighting each other. Celebrities coming in fighting each other. But then they're not really seeing the threat that the sport could present. That the sport could give that because they're not fighting the best.
Right.
The way I train, the way the top fighters train, we train in there to go out there and really throw that punch with all of our soul behind it, and our weight, and to feel the vibration go from the knuckles to all the way to my back shoulder, after I land that punch. You know, so when you have a guy when they're facing fighters like us, then the real threat of fighting for you know I don't know what I'm trying to say is that it's gonna make them think twice before doing it.
Absolutely.
They they never sacrificed when they were younger, trying to win national tournaments, trying to sacrifice missing school, missing dances, cutting weight at a young age, being dehydrated for 5 days because the tournament lasted 5 days. They never been through any of that. So
those are the trenches of a true champion, and you're talking about that, and that's something that you've gone through. You've more than paid your dues, and you continue to go through that.
And I know all the fighters at this level of my competition have gone through it. That's why I respect them. You
Yes.
know, but that's all I gotta say. And that's subject. And of course, I respect the fighters.
Jose, I do want to say this before I lose track of time. There's a new high school in Madera, and it's called Matilda High School. I want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. It's called it's called Torres High School. It's named after Matilda Torres, who was a longtime counselor there, a brand new high school. The lead safety officer there is a buddy of mine, Jason Alexander. And he never asked for much. And these guys, they just assume, first of all, they assume that I'm rolling and all this stuff. And I go, no, I'm not. I haven't even got there yet. But once I do want to help people. And they'll ask, hey, can you get this guy down? Can you get this guy down? I kind of put my foot in my mouth. I said, look, after Jose Ramirez unifies all the belts, let him take his vacation. But when school's running up in running with full capacity, we'll see what we can do about getting him there to talk to the kids in an auditorium inside their new gymnasium, bringing all the hardware with them, and then just let him just speak and reach, even if he just reaches one person out there. I truly believe, Jose, that you're not just going to reach the students. I believe you're going to reach the teachers as well. So I went out there and I said, okay, that new high school, let me talk to Jose. Let me see what I can do.
Of course, we'll make something happen for sure. I think the beginning of the school year is in August, for the fall of the new year. So
Right.
it's I'll be more than happy, man. I'll be more than happy to show up and maybe be a guest and one of the speakers for the first back to school rallies or something. So I'll be more than happy for sure. We'll set it up. We'll stay connected with that.
Sounds good, my man. Hey, you know what, Jose, I want you to ask me a question right now, and I'm going to be honest with you. Ask me who my favorite fighter is.
Who's your favorite fighter?
I like you and Isidro Ochoa from Fresno, California are my favorite fighters. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that out there. And I love Mikey. I love Manny, what he did for me, send that video, for Richie. And there's a lot of fighters that I made contact with. But between you and Isidro Ochoa, man, I mean, you guys are right there. I'm just letting you know that. I'm telling you this because there's a good chance next week Josh Taylor may be on the show. So when I say that, it's because I also want to grow. You want to grow as a fighter. I also want to grow as a podcast, because I never want to be accused of, Richard, you have a lot of people on the show that look like you. And, that's just, the nature of it. Sometimes there's a lot of champions that are Mexicanos. I'll give you an example, and I continue to use this one. Joshua Franco, the professor, I'm a big supporter, and he knows this. He went to that controversial decision. The very next week, I had Andrew Maloney on the show, because nobody around here would touch him. They didn't want to deal with it. But I said, well, why not? I'll embrace it. I plan on having German Cajas and doing the whole show with an interpreter. I want to challenge myself the same way you challenge yourself as a fighter. So there's a good...
I'm proud. I'm proud of you, Richard.
Thank you.
Man, you deserve it, man. The fighter's voice is to give all the fighters a voice, brother. You know what I mean? Not just the central proud fighters. Give everybody the chance. Our job is to open up, the central part of California as a new boxing market, and so people could really, not just the fighters, but also the fans to really have this opportunity to get to know the champions around the world, and it's up to you to do that, man. So, it's through your, through this podcast, through your interviews, and I'm proud of you, man. Go ahead and go out there and you know, talk to all the champions you can, man. That's your job. You know, that's what I would do if I was you. You know.
I'm trying, Jose. I truly believe that we can do this at a global high. You know, I'm sure before you became world champion, you said to yourself, I know I can beat that guy. Given the opportunity, I know I can beat him. Well, I say the same thing when I see other shows. I don't knock it. I said, I know I can do what he does. Just given the opportunity, I know I can do it. I'm not there to embarrass myself. I'm not there to make anybody look bad. I'm there to honor my mother and my son through what I do. I'm just waiting for that opportunity. And until that comes, I'm going to continue grinding and having professionals like you on the show.
And I think we need more people like you, Richard. You know, that's gonna give a chance for fighters to really speak what's in their mind and their hearts. You know, and I think there's a lot of, you know, different guys out there who are doing podcasting, but they, you know, they like to, you know, they like to put some fighters down. They like to be biased in their, you know, in their questionings. And I think you're one of the good guys, you know, that's willing to give your platform for the fighters to really say what they want to say, you know, and to really tell the people who they really are. And I think that's important. I think it's time for people to know who we really are, you know, not just what they might see through some boxing web, you know, sites that, you know, they like to instigate, you know, and just kind of promote and bring drama, because that's what, you know, brings likes and that's what brings attention. But I think sometimes, you know, I think we deserve to have a platform where we could talk about real boxing, talk about real stories, talk about what we do outside of boxing, you know, because a lot of people think that just fighters don't know nothing but to box. And I think there's a lot of fighters who are doing a lot of smart things, a lot of interesting things. You know, we got guys like Canelo who's doing a lot of exciting things, and we got to see what he does and some of the things he's been going through his interview. I think it was yesterday in the morning. But it's, you know, there's a lot of fighters who are doing a lot of great things outside of boxing. I think it's time for people to get to know.
Exactly. One thing that we all need to know, and I know we went kind of long, where can we get these awesome hats? I've seen the hats. I'm looking at the new website, the shirts, the apparel, and I'm gonna be honest, better late than never, because that was long overdue, Jose. Because people would ask, "Hey, Richard, how do I get one?" I said, "I can't even get one. That's just strictly the walkout team." But now, how can the viewers, the fans, followers, supporters, how can they purchase their shirt and their hat and be part of Team Ramirez?
Yeah, now we started the Instagram at you know, at Team Ramirez shop. I was at Team Ramirez _shop. You go to Instagram, and then there's a link there that will send you straight to the you know, to the merchandise. But we started with 2 shirts. We started with 2 hats. One says Team Ramirez, the other one has the rooster. But it's the real nice hats. And we're gonna, you know, continue adding on, you know, sweats, sweaters, and just adding more merchandise, because I think, you know, you're right. I think it was overdue, man. I think a lot of people from all over the United States, from all over the world, were asking for my merchandise, and I'm happy that I finally got it together, and, you know, we got it running now. And I will be posting on my story, where it could be easy, you know, as easy as just swiping up, and it will direct you straight to the website. So you can follow me at JC Ramirez 2012, and that's my Instagram account, and I'll be posting updates about the new hats and shirts that come out.
You know, I'm just letting you know, I'll leave it in everybody's hands. You know, I did submit because I plan on going down there to cover your fight. Somebody asked me, how long you been covering Jose Ramirez's fights and interviewing him? And I said, I actually remember interviewing him using a Polaroid camera. I mean, that's all back when, and, you know, all I had was that little recorder back then, and from day one, man.
I appreciate you, Richard. You know, you come a long ways, man. And then God bless you, man. God bless your team. You know, and I can't wait to see more of your stuff, more of your content. You know, hear different fighters come in your show and see what they got to say. And it's exciting, man. It's exciting. I'm happy that you're bringing this, because if we're gonna bring boxing back to the Central Part of California, we gotta do it all the way around. You know.
Yes.
So the promotion, the publicity that you bring behind using your platform is important.
Well, thank you, Jose. It means a lot to me. It really does. You know, sometimes, you know, I start to think to myself, well, you know, maybe no one's noticing and no one is doing anything, but I continue to stay on the journey and for the cause, and why I continue to open my mouth and give a platform for the fighters just like you. Jose, May 22nd, that first bell rings. What can the fans, the supporters, and the followers expect from Jose Ramirez, ESPN, Top Rank Boxing, Rick Merigian, Jose Ramirez, Charles Tremblay, Robert Garcia, all the sparring partners, everybody else that's involved in that team, your brother Luis, your father Carlos, everybody's in there with you, your brand new daughter, your son, everything with you inside that ring when that bell rings.
That's right, man. Oh, you're gonna see a very determined fighter, a very, you know, proud fighter that's gonna show the best of them. You know, a guy that's gonna be willing to leave it all in that ring that night. You know, and I'm gonna fight with all my heart, man. That's for sure.
Well, Jose, it's always a pleasure having you on. You're always a class act, and you always make more time than usual. And honestly, I really try to cut it down today. And I'm going to share a story with you. When a fighter or somebody says, Richard, I'm only going to be on for this minute, I kind of smile because I already know the conversation is going to get deeper than boxing, that it's going to continue to flow and go.
Yeah, no, it's just fun. I was just afraid they wouldn't lock me in here, man. I'm in a coffee shop here.
Okay, man. Hey, brother. Well, I'll let you go, champ. Hey, as always, it's a wrap. Enough said. Thumbs up for Richie.
Man, thumbs up for Richie. Take care.
Don't you dare touch that dial. Don't miss out. Now you can listen to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. For the hottest and latest in sports and entertainment, exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the sport of boxing and MMA. New show, new topics, new look, bringing you the latest news. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. The Fighter's Voice.